Hello there, this is Alina in my channel Enough. Today I am giving you a short guide to my channel, since I already have about 94 videos in here, and I'll tell you a little bit about who I am, and it's mostly for new subscribers, but even for existing subscribers, maybe they don't know something about the channel and where to find information. So the channel is now just about 5 months old. And in this short period of time, as you can see, channel was created long ago, but the real activity started to happen a few months ago. 30,700 views, watch time 1,800 hours, and at this point 272 subscribers. It's not bad for the channel which just started, especially since there is a lot of valuable information now in politics, and especially about the war in Ukraine, which I'm talking about mostly at this point on my channel. And I'm grateful for my subscribers, each and every one of you, 272. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and thank you for watching. And I'm grateful to people who are watching my channel. And now I'll tell you a little bit more about it. I'm Alina, and in the past I was economist, financier, and lecturer in several Russian universities. And often I was teaching in the classes 200 people or more about economics and in civil engineering in the past. And I read lectures in several different subjects, sometimes 6 to 8 different subjects about stock markets, banks, and lots of other things in Russia at the time, which is over 18 years ago, since I'm 18 years like in Canada. And in Canada, I am a traveler and creator of the website and YouTube channel about mysteries. I write mystery books and travel the world and travel United States. I visited 42 states of the United States with our truck camper and my family. My family and I, by truck camper, visited so many states. And just about 8 states we only haven't been yet. And so is several countries in the world, about 8 countries or so. I have subscribers on my Facebook page, also dedicated to travel mysteries, about over 30 countries in the world. And so is on my Quora account and on this channel and another channel on YouTube. In the past, when I was teaching in Russian universities, sometimes about 4 of them, different ones, sometimes about 6, it depends. I was teaching mostly economical subjects about economics and so on. So I do have a lot of knowledge about economics and stocks and about how the world operates. Even in USSR at the time, it wasn't really economics. A little bit more about me you can find out in the playlist about me. I try to make videos in English and in Russian, so this video also will be in 2 languages, and this video in English, this video in Russian, the same video. There are few different playlists in here, as you can see. Mostly it's about war in Ukraine, and there is a whole big playlist about that. But I am trying to, it's a lot of videos in here, so I'm trying to 81 videos in one channel, so in one playlist. So I try to create a shorter playlist. In English it's called, so oh sorry, I have to show you the whole playlist. It's called Important to Know About the War in Ukraine in English. And I little bit tell you about these individual videos. The first video is called Why Russia is an Aggressor State, Facts about the Russian Invasion of Ukraine, Conclusion. So this video was the last one I made out of several videos, not the last one in the channel, but it's kind of conclusion of the information about it in general. If you want to watch just one video, this would be the one. Not as much proofs in there, but proofs are in the other videos which talking about it in depth. This is just a conclusion. After I immigrated to Canada, and even before that, I was fighting Putin regime for over 18 years now. Why? Because it's bad for Russia. Putin is a bloody dictator who destroyed Russia for all the time he was in power. Even in the first years, it seems to be he maybe will be democratic leader or something like that, but I knew it not gonna happen. And why did I know that? Because he was from KGB. And there is no such a thing, and he is confirming it himself. There is his own statement that there is no such a thing as an ex-KGB. That's why I have a different playlist talking about USSR and the KGB and Russian and Soviet propaganda, which you can see and find out more about that. I was personally acquainted with that. I personally met some KGB officers in the past, and I know what I'm talking about. I know what kind of person is Putin, and that's what I'm talking about on my channel. But even more than that, I'm an expert of the situation in Ukraine since about 2013, because I was really watching it at the time when was Maidan happening. And after that, how the war in Ukraine started. That is why I can show you and I can prove to you that Russia started the war in Ukraine in 2014. And this would be in these videos. This video, who is responsible for the war in Donbass, Ukraine. And I am telling you here about, as you can see, a little bit in the video in the beginning, I would talk about Crimea. And I'll show you a survey which was done several times. It's done by International Republican Institute and Baltic Surveys, Gallup Organization, and so on. So respected international surveyors. And this survey is not the only one. It was done several times. And so was the other surveys. It just was easier to show on this one. And which clearly showing that in Crimea, it's at the time, in 2013 and 2011, about 45% in 2014, in 2018, and about 40% in 2011. That were the people who, regardless of their passport, consider themselves Russians. And yet, in the same survey, only 33% in 2011 and only 23% in 2013 of people who lived in Crimea say the status of Crimea should be, Crimea should be separated from the from Ukraine and given to Russia. So basically 67% in May 2013 thought that Crimea should stay within Ukraine. So it's a vast majority, and there were other surveys too. And they were done before Russian troops invaded Ukraine, invaded Crimea. It was done way before. When there was no gun to the head of people, those surveys wasn't done by Russia or by Ukraine. It was done by respected international organizations. People wasn't afraid of anything. This was their opinion. This was their will and wish. So no matter who saying that right now, that it's that, yeah, majority wanted Crimea be Russian, they are lying. As you can clearly see in this survey, which is often in the videos, I given you the links. Right in the computer, you can see it very clearly. With the links to the survey, to the information I'm talking about, and so on. At the time, investigations and stuff like that. So this how to find out links to certain information. So over 9 years, I was collecting information, and this is what I'm sharing right now on my channel. For you didn't have to waste 9 years of your life to find out which information is more, which information is reliable. Of course, you have to verify it yourself, but instead of looking at 20 videos, you can see one, verify it, and find out, because I already did it for you. Yet, in politics, I believe could be only you cannot trust anybody or believe on word. There is only way, proven or not proven. I am proving it, and I give you information where I get that proofs. You're welcome to verify it yourself. You're welcome to read the whole research if you like. It's available, it's accessible, it's doable. So, but it will economy you a lot of time. The second video of the about Donbass, and about later on in this video I'm saying about Donbass and about a man called Girkin Strelkov. We will talk about him a little later. Next video about that, whose fault is the war in Donbass, and about separatist leader fires a grenade launcher at civilians. And in this video I am talking to you and I'm showing you the statements of famous Russian journalist Alexander Nevzorov, who actually was there at the time, and telling a lot of stuff about what was happening. And he confirming that it was Russian people with Russian passports, led by FSB officers, came to Ukraine, came to Crimea, came to Donbass, and created unrest there. They were the one who was leading the separatists, who created the separatist movement, which wasn't there before, as you can clearly saw in the case of Crimea. And when in the world some countries decided to, some parts of some countries decided to separate, or some countries decided to do something, there is well-proven international ways to do so. Like through United Nations, through referendums, like it's well done in Canada, it's done in UK, and Scotland can confirm that, and Quebec can confirm that. And yet, Russian citizens, Russia didn't go that way. They just go and grab what they wanted. And when United Nations several times offered to bring peacekeepers in Donbass and stop that bloodshed, but they were so concerned right now about, why didn't you concern about people who killed in Donbass? I am concerned. That is why I'm doing my videos. That is why I'm saying that in Donbass, people were... Russia started the war there, and Russians' fault is that people in Donbass were dying and are dying still. So this woman, Valentina Matvienko, speaker of Russian Federation Council, she was saying that, first of all, I find that article from Russian source Ведомости. Matvienko considered illogical bringing peacekeepers to the Russian borders. So basically, she said it's illogical. We don't need that. And so on. Also, there is proofs in there how the separatist leaders shooting at their own people, like this man, Motorola, who's shooting grenade launcher at the civilians and his own people, right here. You're welcome to see the whole video. This video is, I'm talking about the next video. Russian FSB officer Strelkov admits I started the war in Ukraine. This would be interview with Mr. Strelkov, which is this gentleman right here, who is confirming that people in Crimea didn't want a referendum. They had to force the deputies of Ukrainian parliament under the gunpoint into the room to vote that they need referendum to separate from Ukraine. And he confirmed in the article, which I'm saying in here, where he admits that he started the war in Ukraine. And so on. Right in here, for instance, and so on. And this is a translation of part of this article done by me. Also, as a cherry on top of it, even Putin admits that Crimea belongs to Ukraine, which you can clearly see in the interview you can see over here in this video. So this is what happened. Next video is also important. It's about Lavrov lies exposed. And I completely go through whole the interview, Mr. Lavrov to Mr. Rosenberg, and explaining you about all the lies he said in one interview, which is clearly will give you an understanding what was happening in Ukraine. And what manipulative tactics he used, what lies did he say, and giving you the link to the United Nations report about how many people died since April 2014 to December 2021. And in 2021 in Ukraine died in 25 civilians. Yet Putin was so outraged he decided to start a war over that. And about Nazis and about everything. So in this video, in this channel, in this playlist, kind of shorter one. So these videos would be about Donbass and about starting the war in Ukraine. This is about Russian and Ukrainian Nazis compared. So you will find out that there is no more Nazis in Ukraine than in any other country. And yet there are Nazis in Russia. And this is for people who doesn't believe that there are war crimes in Ukraine. This video is consists of graphic evidence. You're welcome to see that. Another video is very important about it called Finland and Sweden will join NATO thanks to Putin. Debunking Russian propaganda about NATO. What I'm saying in here and proving with facts and figures that NATO as a defensive alliance was reducing forces in Ukraine significantly. Not in Ukraine, sorry. There is no Ukrainian NATO forces in Ukraine, and never was. They were reducing forces in Europe in 2014, in 2013, significantly, as you will be able to see in here. And they would be linked to the information where I get it from. It's this one from Wall Street Journal, for instance. There are other information too. Just if I provide one source, it doesn't mean that this is the only source. There are lots of information. It was easier to provide for one reason or another. So all the information about that NATO somehow provoked Russia, it is a lie. There is nothing into it. And lots of other important videos at this moment. Sometimes I will put some more or take out some of this playlist. It's kind of shorter playlist of everything, which is in English, and I recommend that. Some playlists are just in Russian. It's part of my book, which I wrote, my political book, which I wrote in 2017, and explain a little bit about future of Russia and how to become a normal, successful country. So this playlist is very interesting as well because it's about USSR. The Empire of Evil is back. It's about propaganda, about in English and in Russian, the same videos, and about KGB and stuff like that. This is important to know, because this propaganda right now used against you. Russia is fighting informational war and was fighting it for all the time. It never stopped, not even in Gorbachev time. It was significantly reduced, but it never completely stopped, I don't think. And especially it increased during Putin's time. That is why it's important to know, and people should be aware of that. There is also my playlist about corruption, which I collecting information, not many videos in there yet, but still there is some 6 videos and so on. So you're welcome to check it out, my channel. You're welcome to verify all the information. Majority of the videos, except of the first video in this channel, in this playlist, would consist a lot of links with information. I will talk about reliable sources of information, and you're welcome to find out what sources are reliable, what is not, what to look for, and how to distinguish what is right. Is unreliable sources, I can say, Russia Today and any sources of news anyhow related to Russian government, which is all the Russian news inside Russia, they are not reliable. It's a lying propaganda, as Russia Today was for many years. And it was allowed to speak to people in about 2017, when I writing my book. It was something about 600 million people, 640 or something like that. all over the world that lying propaganda source was telling things how Putin wants you to hear. So he is brainwashing people not only in Russia, but abroad. That is why I created my channel, because living for 18 years in a free country, Canada, I understand how much better people live here, and I traveled all over the world, and in United States a lot, in Canada a lot. So I know people live here happier, way longer, from 8 to 16 years longer than in Russia, depends if it's a man or woman. And they not getting brainwashed. On the contrary, they're learning critical thinking in schools and everywhere. And this is important. Many people in Russia not interested in politics, and it's wrong. Because right now they're joking, which is the joke realized and become true, that if you're not interested in politics, someday politics will be interested in you. And I don't want that to happen in any of the free world countries. It's awful, it's scary. In Russia, right now, politics came into people's homes when Putin's grabbing people, their husbands, their sons, their brothers, and taking them to the war. Unprepared, untrained, when they shoot only 3 bullets to practice. And Russian women, family members, taking loans in the bank to equip their men to go to the army and get killed. They buying him everything almost, from bulletproof vests, which poor quality and so on, and to the medication and everything, and food and clothes, to go to the war. They pay in their own money to get their men killed. How stupid is that? Yet, that's what happened to people who are not interested in politics, who allow the leader, who's supposed to be smarter than you are, decide for you. Welcome to Nazi Germany, welcome to Putin's Russia. This is a window into different countries. It wouldn't be talking on my channel. At some point I would talk about different countries too, not just Russia. But for now, the war in Ukraine is most important thing which is happening, because it can turn into World War III, it can turn into nuclear war. That is why it's important to help Ukraine. It's important to stop Putin. Please help me to do that by liking, subscribing, and writing me comments. And thank you for your attention. Have a great day.